PlayStation had approved Bluepoint to do a Bloodborne remake, but it was FromSoftware who said no. I have never been more vindicated than I am right now because I have been talking about this for years and no one ever believed me. When it comes to Miyazaki and Bloodborne, I have always said that if he wanted to, he would. But he just doesn't want to, and I don't know why it's so hard for some people to believe that he is just more interested in working on new projects than he is going back to his past work. If Miyazaki wanted a Bloodborne 2 to be made, it would have been made. Yes, PlayStation owns the IP, but they would let him do a sequel, and they're not going to do it without him, because they respect him as a director. And even when it comes to doing remakes of his games, they still want to get his blessing for it. They got his blessing for Demon's Souls, that's gone on record. He was okay with them doing this one, and for whatever reason, he's just not okay with them doing Bloodborne. And that's his decision. It is well documented that Bloodborne is his baby. Like, he loves it. He probably doesn't want to see any aspect of it changed. And there was a little bit of controversy around some changes made of Demon's Souls. And he had given a quote to Edge magazine saying that he actually liked the Bluepoint remake. So even though it did have some changes, it seems like he was fine with them. But Bloodborne is just different, and he probably doesn't want to trust anyone but him to handle this IP. And he probably just isn't interested in spending years remaking a game he's already made when he wants to go on and do new projects. Now, I don't know why there hasn't at least been a 60 FPS patch. I understand people really want that, and that wouldn't fundamentally change the game, so I don't understand why that hasn't been done. But in terms of a remake or a sequel, it is probably just never going to happen, and that's because Miyazaki is just not interested in it. The story of Bloodborne is very complete. It doesn't really leave room for a sequel, and historically, Miyazaki doesn't like doing sequels. He likes finishing a project and moving on to the next thing. The only games that got sequels was Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2 sequel wasn't 100% his decision, you know what I mean? And then I think Dark Souls 3 was his way of putting a bow on that so he could have the final creative stamp on the franchise. But think about everything else he's done. It's always a new thing. The thing is, Shuhei Yoshida talked about this in an interview a year or two ago, and I talked about it then, and everyone lost their mind at me for insinuating that maybe, just maybe, it's not PlayStation who doesn't want to do anything with Bloodborne, it's Miyazaki who is just not interested in doing any more Bloodborne stuff. If he is interested, he just doesn't have time right now because he's working on so many other things. And so if Bloodborne ever does get a remake, or if it ever gets a sequel, or if it does ever come back, it's going to be because Miyazaki wants to and he has time to. And until then, PlayStation is just respecting his wishes to not touch the IP.